Hashem, Yahweh Bahashem, Rakha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the elect men of Yasharallah, scattered across the four corners of the planet Earth, who diligently teach this word in truth and in sincerity, risking their lives and livelihoods to do so. All right. Shalom to you sisters who watch and who learn as well. All right, here's another video. This is a video of a book that, another book that I was reading. All right. If you want to read this book, you can buy it on Amazon. It's only $1.99. All right. And, I was watching, a documentary on the Ku Klux, okay? It's the Ku Klux Klan, not Ku as in Sekou, but Ku, all right? Ku Klux, all right? Ku Klux is a Greek word meaning circle, okay? And clan is a family, all right? And I was reading this, I was watching on Netflix who put the Ku in the Ku Klux Klan, all right? And they mentioned or referenced this book called The Klansman. Now, um, now, I did a video. I'm doing a video, or I'm doing a video on this, all right? And I'm not done reading the book. Um, I'm not sure if this book is a fictional book or, you know, but real quick, or if it's a real book, if it's a real historical document. But let me see about the author. All right, the author is Thomas Dixon. All right, Thomas Dixon is senior lecturer in history at Queen Mary University of London. All right. All right. And so what I'm going to do is look at some of the reviews. There are 22 reviews. I'm going to look at some of the reviews now. I've you know, been listening to this book. Now, the reason that I'm really, the reason that drove me into, going into this book is because a lot of times, we talk about things like slavery. We talk about things like Jim Crow, okay? And a lot of times, sometimes we may get someone who lived during the time, and they talk about it, all right? Um you know and we really don't understand, okay, um how these people, okay, what these people went through, okay, during slavery, all right, during the time period of slavery, okay. um and after, okay, the Jim Crow area, era, we really don't, uh, grasp that. We see movies, and but you know a lot of times, because I'm thinking, because our people, okay, um, our people are totally in the dark. Okay, you know, and it's very very sad, man. Oh, it's so sad. Okay, how in the dark our people are. Okay, and from the last, the other lesson I did, deepening the divide, East failing. Um, you know, that's Esau, Edom's attempt at you know, using individuals to to try and blemish the truth. But there is not going to be anything that you can do to blemish this truth. Okay, there's nothing that you can do now. Um, now, one of the things that caught me about this book, all right, uh, whether it's whether it's a fictional book or not, I kind of believe that maybe they may have taken some historical accounts from real conversations and put them in this book. But for the people, the 1948ers. Okay, let's real quick, the 1948ers. Okay, these and this is what's so sad about you so-called Negroes, man. You damn ninjas, man. You ninjas. You ninjas. You ninjas. All right. Oh man. Um. We hear about these. These 1948ers. All right. And the the drama. I'll say the drama that they had with maybe had with the conflict that they maybe had with the German with the people of Germany, all right, if you want to say that, all right, was maybe 4 years, maybe 4 years, 5 years, okay, 4 or 5 years, and they want you to believe that, okay, and they want to tell you that that was a Holocaust, okay, they want to tell you that that was a Holocaust, all right, but what took place here, okay, in America, Babylon the Great, okay? What took place here on the shores of America during and after slavery. There is nothing before, before and after slavery. There is nothing to match that in historical history going all the way back to the Israelites leaving, being delivered from Egypt. Okay? What happened during slavery here in America? The only thing that you can compare to that is the Hebrew Israelites, okay? In Egypt. Okay? There's nothing that's even close. Okay, you hear people talking about a Holocaust. Hey, the Holocaust is a drop in the bucket to what took place during slavery. Okay? I want you to understand this. Again, the Holocaust maybe was 4 years, maybe 5 years, okay? So we're talking about centuries. centuries for the slavery, for the enslavement of the so-called Negro, Hispanic, and Native American. Okay? But mostly, okay, but most damage, most pressure, okay, if you will, for lack of a better term, okay, was applied on the Southern Kingdom here in America, here in Babylon the Great. Okay. Now I'm gonna go to some, a little testimony because you know, my grandfather, all right, maybe he's in his 90s, late 90s right now. So his legs, just went out on him. All right. So he's up in age, man. All right. But anyway, um, you know, one thing, when I came into this truth, one thing that I was, and to this day, very fearful of, okay, is being a descendant of the Edomites. All right, because as far as I know, my grandfather, descended from slaves, man, or he's a so-called Jake. Now, here's the thing: our people have great pride. All right, our people have pride, and so you know, before my grandfather was, in such a bad case. Come on, come on. All right. Before he was in a bad case. Um, I asked him about his father. All right. Because I wanted to know, shit, because I never met him. Okay. Uh, so you don't get no calls, nothing happens till you start doing the video. But anyway, so I wanted to know, and he gave me a very broad, you know, because he never talked about his father, nor did my great grandmother. Okay, she never talked about her husband. All right, all that I knew, of my great uh, grandmother or great grandfather was that, most of my family is from Natchez, Mississippi. All right, we had the Devil's Punch Bowl. Okay, and I have a lot of family. Okay, um, you know, from Natchez, Mississippi. All right, and so so I was talking to my father, and he, I told him, I asked him, and he said that his father never talked about his father, because that time was a different time for Jake, okay, and you know uh my grandfather's father, um you know may have you know Jake was was hard, okay, harder then, okay, harder on the family, keeping things, so things were more intact, and so pretty much um my grandfather didn't have any dealings, didn't have dealings with him, didn't like him, okay, And so, they came to Chicago. All right, him and my great grandmother, and and uh, and so, um, my father said, yeah, he didn't talk about his father too much, and in fact, not only did he not talk about his father, okay, he never, not only him, okay, none of, uh, you know, my great grandfather was an only child, so, and my great grandmother, she adopted, one of his best friends, and brought him up, to Chicago as well. Um, um, their cousins. No one talked about anything that took place in Natchez, Mississippi. It was like, or Mississippi, it was like, Mississippi was a distant planet. Okay, now this is where they grew up at, but they never made a mention about growing up. They never talked about anything down there. Okay, at all. Okay, it's like, if you ask them about Mississippi, it's like they damn near say, what is Mississippi? Okay, because they never went, and that's how these Edomites, okay, ruled over Jake in the South. Okay, that's the level of ferociousness. Okay, the level of hatred. Okay, that these Edomites grew to, that these Edomites had for so-called Negroes in the South, man. Okay, even after slavery. Okay, you know, uh, there was this individual, that my father would talk to, and he was from somewhere down in Mississippi, and he told him a story. He was telling him a story about how that, when he lived in Mississippi, uh, he lived in a smaller town than Natchez, okay? And everybody know you in a small town. All the white people know the black people. So he was walking down the street, and this individual was staying with, living with his grandfather or uncle, and there was a white woman, okay, you know, named Miss Elizabeth or whatever, all right, and she saw him walking and she called him, and said, hey, hey, Carl, whatever, come help me move, come help me move some stuff in my house. So he, this, the Jake, okay, he was like, yeah, okay. So I went and helped her move this stuff. I, moved it, helped her move all day, okay. And when I had gotten done, helping her move, I was, expecting her, waiting to get paid, you know, waiting for her to pay me, and all she gave me was an apple, okay. That was his payment for helping her move, furniture and move things around. She gave him an apple. Okay. So he said, sure enough, the very next day he was coming through town. Okay. and he saw, Miss Elizabeth again. And she called him, hey, Carl, Carl. And he said as soon as she called him, he took off running. Okay? He took off running. All right? And so he's like, hey, man, and so he ran all the way to his uncle's house, grandfather's house, whoever's house it was. And he said, and sure enough, maybe an hour, 2 hours later, the sheriff, the sheriff of the town, came to his uncle's house and was looking for him. Okay, looking for him. Okay, and his uncle was like, well, he didn't do nothing wrong. I needed him to do something for me, and I told him to get right here. And the sheriff, pretty much told him, don't, don't ever do that again. All right. If Miss Elizabeth call you, you go see what Miss Elizabeth want right then and there. All right. But and the way that he explains it in, in that, I don't feel like doing, the voice over and all that, because it's upsetting. It's very upsetting. Okay. Because, we know that it's fucked up. Okay. But, you know, this, for someone to, try and, take your identity, to try to identify to be you, man. Okay. Like these 1948ers are doing, man, and it's, pretty much the nerve of them. Okay. Now, I was watching this, who was it? Um, Maybe Jerry Springer, or yeah, maybe it's Jerry Springer or Phil Donahue. Okay, and he was doing a show. Okay, and he had some Edomites on there, but the Edomites were cool. Okay, they were cool with the so-called with the so-called Negro. Okay, they didn't like the 1948ers. Okay, they didn't like the 1948ers. All right. And you know, these people, okay, the Most High has set them up. Okay, this is their kingdom. Okay, this is their kingdom. And I know I'm pretty much all over the place, but you have to understand how ferocious, okay, how appalling. Uh, I'm looking for a word to really fit. Okay, these people are. Okay. Now, I always bring this up because it's something that has always stuck out in my mind. All right. And it was from the autobiography of Frederick Douglass. And in the autobiography of Frederick Douglass, Frederick Douglass makes mention of, one time when he was younger, and um, his master's wife, had pretty much got caught teaching him how to read or something like that. And so the master told his wife, he overheard the master tell his wife that, uh, you know, we don't allow these so-called Negroes to read. If they learned how to read, they would go crazy. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that always stuck with me. Like, how could reading make a person go crazy. All right. And the first thing that popped up into my head, okay, was the scripture, oppression maketh the wise man mad. Okay, and let me get that, man. I mean, you know, for my grandfather to not talk about his early childhood, man, not only him, his cousins, you know, Ecclesiastes 7:7, it says, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. Okay? And that's how we have been here in Babylon the Great. We have surely been oppressed. Okay? But when we speak out or say something, all right, their response is that, we are mad, we're crazy. No, you're mad. You're taking, okay, these Edomites, okay, they are taking, they're taking a mad approach, okay, taking videos down. Any video that you put up, they're taking the video down. All right. They're doing all type of things behind the scene. Okay. Again, these 1948ers, what happened to them was, during a process of maybe 4 years. Okay, however long, World War II took place. Okay. But again, when it comes to you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, this was through a process of centuries. All right. This was through a process of centuries. And it's still going on today. Now, this book, the Klansman, all right. When reading this book, you know, you see the same atmosphere, the same, things in practice as they were in practice during this period of time that this book was supposedly had taken place. Okay, you understand? It shows you how that we so-called Negroes, man. You don't understand. You look at again. You look at people like Abraham Lincoln. That's the black president. Him and George. What was this guy name? Bill Clinton. Okay. But Abraham Lincoln, okay, and people within his uh uh cabinet, according to this book, the Klansman. All right, and I'm still not reading. I'm still pretty just really at the beginning of this book, and I'm just looking for references. Just digging. All right, digging through the crates. Um, they wanted to put you so-called Negroes. They didn't even want you here in America. All right. Uh, Something which I didn't know. Okay. Um, They used the so-called Negroes because they were going to plant you in South America. Okay? You know, they used you so-called Negroes to dig out the Panama Canal. Okay? Digging out the Panama Canal, they used so-called Negroes, man. So-called Negroes. Okay? Um, so it wasn't, Abraham's Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln, okay, didn't want to keep the so-called Negroes here in America. They wanted to colonize the so-called Negro. They always wanted to keep their foot on your neck. Okay? That, was according to this book. Okay? That they wanted to colonize, and it said we're going to give the so-called Negro our religion, which you Negroes have now, plantation Christianity. You can't get enough of it. Okay, even Israelites are calling on the name Jesus Christ. Okay, now when I read this book, that's all these Edomites were blessing. That's how they were receiving their blessings, calling on the name Jesus Christ. Okay, so if them calling on that name was making them receive blessings in their mind, why the hell would you want to call on that name? They were saying, thank you, Jesus Christ, for the damn heathen that you're giving us, which were you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Okay, again, what happened here in America was so deep. Again, these individuals did not want to repeat it. Okay, that's deep. I laughed when I heard it. Like, damn, they didn't want to talk about it. Listen, they act as though Mississippi, listen, they've never even went back past Springfield, Illinois. Okay? These people have not went back past Springfield, Illinois. Mississippi might as well be Mars. God damn it. That's how bad Esau treated them in the South. But you don't hear me, man. A lot of you don't hear and you don't understand. You still would like to play games with this damn devil, man. Okay? Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, off days or whatever. You see us digging into books, man. We're not out drinking and fucking around with these hoes, man. Okay? That should let you know something. That should give you a clue, man. That there is a more serious task at hand, man. And that's through the spirit of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai that we are able to do that, man. People like, man, it ain't coming out, man. Sure they checking for. Listen, man, later for all of that, man. Okay? Some things I do, because, I may have to, but other than that, man, later for that, man. Okay? We all of that will come in the kingdom. Okay, now if you don't believe that, then I would suggest that you leave now. If you don't believe that the kingdom is coming and whatever, okay, everything in the scriptures, I don't want to say whatever, but everything in the scriptures concerning the kingdom that's coming, if you don't fully believe, if you're not fully persuaded, okay, then you should leave this truth alone, man. You're only going to injure yourself, man. You're only going to injure yourself. When you come into this truth, man, you got to be ready to serve Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, man. This is not serving your ego, serving your, you know, man, he's the greatest Israelite. Some people want to be, no, man, this is not that, man. That's not what Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai is looking for. Okay? All of that, he's the greatest, is reserved for Yahweh Shai, man. Yahweh Shai. All right? And then he's going to determine the greatest and the greatness, when he hands out those crowns. Okay? But now we are unprofitable servants, digging in the crates. Okay? So yeah, man, they don't talk about it, and they don't, I've been down to Mississippi quite a few times, all right? You know, uh, I was, raised with, pretty much uh much different, okay, with a different perspective. Okay. But you know, my grandfather, you know, about 6'4", okay, 6'5", all right, taller than me, all right, when he was, able to move around, all right, but um, you know, but you know, men snatching Jake ass up out of the house, you in your house, okay, and it was much worse in these smaller towns, okay, in smaller Mississippi towns, all right, where they just come inside your home, inside your house, and take you out and hang you. I mean, these people don't mention where they come from. Period. Period. My great grandmother never did it. She never said, "Oh, I remember when I was a little girl down in." She never mentioned it. They never mentioned it. Now, my grandmother, she would, say things about, she was from Natchez as well. She would say things about, uh, pastors and stuff like that, that were, in the family, or, but my grandfather, he never said a thing, nor did his mother. All right. His cousins, okay. It was as though Mississippi didn't exist. And that is how bad. If you wanna, you know, if you're trying to figure out, okay, you say you weren't a slave, although this was after slavery. Okay, this was much, much after slavery. If you want to know what people, and these people don't mention it because that's how terrified they were. Okay? That's how terrified they were of these southern Edomites. You know, there was a newspaper called The Defender, all right? And Chicago Defender newspaper used to be here in Chicago. I don't know if it's, I don't think it's no longer in circulation. It was a black newspaper, and they would pretty much write articles telling the Jakes that were in the South, let some up north and get the hell away from the white people down in the South. Okay. And one this is the craziest thing about Esau, and this is what I've always said. Okay. This is why you don't get reparations. Okay. This is why you don't get reparations from Esau. Esau doesn't care about giving you the damn money. Okay, he makes the money out. All right. Okay, these central bankers, these 1948ers who own these banks, they make this money up. Okay. Okay. I say this. Okay, and I stand on it. All right. The real treasure, okay, is not in Fort Knox. Okay? I want you Israelites to hear this. The real treasure is not in Fort Knox. You are the real treasure. Okay? You are the apple of the Lord's eye, and that's why these damn Edomites, they're basically holding you hostage. Oh, look at this. They're basically holding you hostage, man. Okay, and I'm going to end it. I didn't even know I was talking that long. But let me finish the story about the defender. Things are happening. So what they would do is if they found now this is Esau. Now if the Edomites found out that you knew how to read, for one, and that you were planning, this is after slavery. After slavery, if they found out that you were reading and planning to run away or go to the north and reading the Chicago Defender or the Defender, they would hang you. You would be hung. Okay? The Edomites complain about you being around, yet if you try to get away from them, they will kill you. That's because you are a valuable resource to them. You being the nigger, okay? And I mean ignorant and yeah, some boss. Yeah, and a savage. Okay, shoot that op. Shoot that nigga. Man, fuck that nigga. As long as you are in that condition, okay, you're as valuable to them as a brick of gold. So I'm going to say that. I'm going to end it, okay, right there. Until next time, shalom. Okay, I didn't even go into the comments, but shalom.